All right. Welcome to the Jiggy and Joe Sports Show, first annual Draft Day Classic.
I'm Joe.
I'm Max.
Okay. Right.
And we are honored and privileged to have Mr. Qadry Ismail on the podcast today.
Super honored to have you.
How you doing?
Doing well. Both Max and Joe, appreciate you guys having me on. And I mean, I'm referring to you as Jiggy, or we just going with Max? Like, you let me know. We can flow with both.
Max is good. Pleasure
to have a chance to speak with you guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. And I know you had a busy schedule today with track. And are you coaching in the event? Are you coaching your children? Are you participating?
So I'm a head coach for Patterson Mill High School, and we have here in Hartford County, Maryland, we have our track and field. It's called the Upper Chesapeake Bay Athletic Conference, or UCBAC, Conference Championship. So all the schools get together and compete, and today is the finals for a lot of the events. So just trying to hammer out who's going to be running where and when. We've got some really good performers heading up and doing their thing. So trying to finalize all that before I head out on the road.
Of course. And good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you.
So happy draft day. And so I was wondering how you got the name the Missile, your brother Ragib the Rocket, and your youngest brother the Bomb. And what was it like to have your brother Ragib, who also made it professionally? And did you guys ever push each other to get to where you ended up to have successful NFL careers?
Yeah, so I think the nicknames were kind of an organic thing that happened. When my brother and I were in 8th grade, we were on the track team for E.L. Myers High School, and that was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. The track and field coach was having us go up against some seniors in our starting blocks. And so my brother was competing and really keeping up with everybody. And he was only, like I said, in 8th grade. And our track coach was like, wow, he looks like a rocket in a pocket. And so with that, all the guys just started, nicknaming him, Rocket. And so my nickname came a lot later on. I actually, when I was in high school, was called GQ. And so when it came to college, obviously my brother, he went to Notre Dame. I went to Syracuse. And so my mom was out at a Notre Dame game, and it was a nationally televised game. My mom went and was speaking to the sideline reporter, and the sideline reporter asked her, well, can you tell us your son's nicknames? And so she was like, well, my older son, as you know, he's the Rocket. And my son, Qadry, he's at Syracuse, and he is called the Missile. And my youngest son, Suleiman, at that time, he was, I think a junior in high school. He's like, and he's called the Bomb. And I am affectionately known as the launching pad. So I was like, wow, Mom, she set the tone, and the nickname, the Missile, stuck. And obviously my brother, to this day, people refer to him as a Rocket, and rightly so. So that's how it came about. With the other part to your question, my brother and I always just had a passion to play football and play sports in general. Just love competing, love going out there and playing football and playing with our friends. And, again, from a track and field standpoint, was introduced to track and field in 8th grade, and just kept that for me personally as a passion of mine throughout high school and college. Both my older brother and I, we both competed. He obviously at Notre Dame, obviously me at Syracuse, in track, both indoor and outdoor. And just overall, I think, we were one another's biggest fans. Didn't really have a lot of that, what you would consider the brother sibling rival.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any stories to tell you that, it's like, oh yeah, we hated each other. I threw a brick at his head or something, crazy like that. I don't know. Just, we really truly enjoyed, just supporting one another and I'm his biggest fan. He's mine. And now obviously we got kids and they're
Yeah.
all young adults. So, it takes on a different life of its own. Now you're, helping out his kids, my nieces and nephews and vice versa. So, yeah, just a lot of love of family and appreciation for each other's gifts.
So you would say
Yeah.
that's like the biggest influence in your life, your brother, to have the motivation to believe in yourself, to actually pursue that NFL level?
So it's interesting because I think you have to have that inner drive within yourself, but I also think you have to have support. And, support comes in many forms. And yeah, he was that guy that, I know we would always, whether it be track, whether it be football, we're always talking about, what our dreams and our goals were, how to, be a better version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And, I think that close knit relationship that we had, it carries over even into today. When his kids were active in high school and stuff, we would be talking and he's like, all right, well, talk to Uncle Qadry and see what he says about this or about that. And I know he's really been a big influence on, my kids. And even when it came to here's a funny story. He was being honored when I lived in Florida. He was being honored to the Hall of Fame of the Orange Bowl. And so he and his wife, Milani, they came down and it's like, oh yeah, you're going down there, come on and visit. So I told my kids at the time, they were real little, and my daughter, she was like, oh, I'm going to race Uncle Rocket and I'm going to beat him. And I mean, I'm like, well, I don't know. He's pretty fast. So she was just so determined. And she had his Dallas Cowboy 81 jersey. And so she was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get him. So I told him, I was like, hey, Rocket, I'm telling you right now, Kalea, she's excited. You're coming down and she's going to race you. So, he raced her, and it was really cute. But, I think for her and for that young of an age, it was cute because it was her being vulnerable and him, just being a loving uncle. I'm like, all right, I'm going to still beat you, but I'm going to, allow it to happen and build up her confidence. And I just think that that's something, one of many, many stories that I have as far as just a relationship that we share, not only with each other, but also with our families.
That's an awesome story. I'm glad you shared that with us. And you touched on your children a little bit. Your son, Qadry, I understand, is a quarterback at Villanova, going to his senior year. And he has aspirations to become an NFL player at some point. And I was wondering if you guys ever have conversations, as you were a wide receiver, of course, and he's a quarterback, of, hey, like, I like to run this route depth and this concept, or I like to run this route and this different concept. What were those conversations like? And do you ever give different advice on different wide receivers and how they like to run different routes?
So here is the addendum to the question. He was a wide receiver, or I'm sorry, quarterback. He moved to wide receiver his senior year. Here's a crazy thing. So he literally played high school throughout college for his first 3 years as a quarterback. They had a guy in front of him who was a grad transfer, and he was like, all right, I want to do what's best for me because I do have aspirations to play in the league, and I want to get an opportunity to do that. So he moved over to wide receiver. Now he injured his thumb and he wound up missing some games, but he came back and got back in the mix. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was super impressed by the way he handled himself. Not only, just changing position, which is hard. Yeah. You have a passion, you want to play quarterback, you feel you're a really good quarterback, which he was. I think he had an opportunity, if he had an opportunity to play and compete, to take over the job. Oh my gosh, I think the sky would have been the limit. With that said, adversity in life happens. You can either sit back and get frustrated with it, or you can challenge yourself and change. And so my pride in saying that he is a wide receiver now takes on a different form. And I think, just the way he attacked it, the way he went about, honing in on his craft really was something. So he has 2 years of eligibility left. I know he had his COVID year and his redshirt year still remaining. So he's going to go. He's in the transfer portal now. Talking to some schools, really haven't narrowed it down too much. But yeah, got some really good conversations that have been had. And then as far as he and I specifically, it's really cool because obviously, like I said, my brother and I both being wide receivers, from releasing off the line of scrimmage to running a post compared to running a hitch to a slant, or, what is it to run in the slot versus playing outside? All those little details. What are certain coverages to think about when, to get the ball or not get the ball? And he soaks it all in, and really proud of how he's grown and matured as a young man.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah. So speaking on like adversity and that motive towards your goal, I kind of wanted to move this towards your draft day experience. And I saw on the draft board that I'm pretty sure there was 5 receivers that were drafted before you. And did you have a chip on your shoulder thinking you should have been like a first round pick?
It's interesting because I was asked that question the other day by one of my colleagues at I do TV work at WJZ here in Baltimore. And I will tell you, like, everybody was telling me, oh, Qadry, you're going to be, a first rounder. Oh, you're going to be a first rounder. I was like, all right, cool. Well, let's do this. I thought for sure it was going to be Chicago, or possibly Green Bay. I think there were maybe 2 other teams that were kind of, the 49ers, I know were having conversations, and there was another team that, the Giants, that's who it was. Well, it only person I remember going ahead of me, actually there was 2. One was Sean, gosh, what was his last name? I can't even think of his last name.
Yeah, I knew there was
but Sean.
OJ McDuffie, I believe, as well.
OJ went to Miami, and from Penn State. OJ went to Miami. I didn't think anything about that because I was like, Miami, whatever. But Curtis Conway was the name that stuck out in my mind as like, oh, okay. He and I, when the draft at that time, I mean, you get instant information now, but the draft at that time, you're like, okay, you're waiting by your phone or you're listening to what some of the pundits were saying. But yeah, a lot of guys thought that I was going to be drafted by Chicago, and Curtis Conway wound up going. But I think it all worked out. Obviously being drafted by Minnesota, thoroughly enjoyed my time as a Minnesota Viking, and life is life. I'm appreciative of the experience, for sure. But who are the names of the guys? I know you said OJ McDuffie, but who else were the other guys?
Curtis, as you said. The other one slipping. Guy went. Joe, what were the other ones?
Joe's looking it up now.
I was actually looking it up the other day, and hold on.
But anyway,
yeah, we can move on. But I'll look it up.
No worries. Yeah.
So, you were drafted to Minnesota, obviously, round 2. Drafted to Dennis Green, and I was wondering, in that team, who was every rookie who wants to be successful finds a veteran who to pick his brain and really is a sponge year 1. Who was that guy for you in your rookie year, and what was the best piece of advice you received your rookie year? Great
question. Without question, the guy I think really, was some simple words that meant an awful lot to me was Roger Craig. Roger Craig played for the San Francisco 49ers. He was the first back to have 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. He was known as the most versatile back in football at that time. And so, free agency was just happening. So he wound up coming to the Minnesota Vikings, and he reunited with Denny Green, who was on the 49ers staff when he was there. And bruh, the simplest words, he came up to me, he goes, "Hey, Q Niski." I was like, "Yeah, Roger, what's up, man?" He goes, "Listen, this is what you need to realize. You got to take care of what takes care of you." And he paused and he was like, "Everything you do has to be about taking care of what takes care of you. If you can do that, bro, I'm telling you, you got a chance to be something in this league." And I really didn't fully understand it then, but as he and I would talk, I would notice how he was taking care of his body. And so the biggest thing that, there's a phrase that's being tossed around a lot these days, and is saying what the best ability is your availability. And I think for what I know, coaches want to see you show up. They want to know that they can depend upon you. And so if you're breaking down, or if you're always sore, or if you don't have what it takes to be consistent, someone else is going to take your job. And so I think that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned from Roger Craig was, Q Niski, take care of what takes care of you. And I remember as I, started getting into the league and, going throughout my career and having some of the trials that I had, but also some of the successes, to be able to share that with other guys and them take care of what took care of them. At the same time, them coming back to me and telling me how much those words meant to them to help them, have the careers that they had. So that Roger Craig was the guy that stuck out to me.
That's a great story, and sounds like that those words really had an impact on you throughout your career, and you still carry that with you throughout your life.
So I think the main thing when I look at, just living, period, it's your passion and what you desire to do in your life that really, truly matters. And I think sometimes people get caught up in, the stuff of life, the superficialness of life and what you have and what you can acquire. But I think that the one thing that you recognize is precious is time and your health. And I think if you can find a level of happiness and joy throughout your life, you're going to have trials. We know that. But if you can look at yourself and have a level of joy for yourself, I think that is super important. And so for me, and what I've been able to accomplish, I'm thankful for, but that doesn't necessarily define me. I know that I'm grateful for an opportunity to have 3 wonderful children that are in my life. I have great friends and great relationships with people. So those are the things that I think stand out as most important. And take care of what takes care of you. I can go back to moments like that and say what a big influence that was for me.
Yeah, and I know you got to get out of here, so I want to ask you a couple more questions, if that's okay with you.
I also
Sure.
have wide receivers if you'd like to know.
Yeah. Go ahead, tell me.
Curtis Conway at 7, and then you got Sean Dawkins at 16.
Sean Dawkins, yes.
Then OJ McDuffie at 25.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Kevin Williams, and then finally Victor Bailey.
I don't remember much of Victor Bailey's career. Kevin Williams went to the Cowboys, correct?
Yeah, Cowboys.
Yeah, he was no joke. Kevin was sneaky fast, like, wow, just explosive. Sean, he was a really tall, lanky receiver. Really had great, hands. He and I were teammates. We met back up in New Orleans. Like I said, Curtis Conway, everybody was talking about Curtis Conway and his just, kind of being the more complete receiver of the bunch. But OJ McDuffie, my God, man, that dude, he and I teamed up down in Miami, and he clearly was the man. I certainly respected the way he went about his craft, went about his business. Was a reliable target for Dan Marino, for those who don't remember. But Yeah, man, that dude, he was awesome. Victor Bailey, where did he go?
He went to the. You said Victor Bailey.
Yeah.
He went to Eagles.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very memorable, I guess.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, in Philly, I mean, you gotta have some thick skin, and
Yeah.
you gotta come ready to go. Period. And that's yeah. Wow. Chicago was tough too. I think Courage Conway had a solid career there, but yeah, Chicago is a tough place to play as well. So both places, yeah, that's interesting.
So moving on to the biggest game that you ever played in your career, Super Bowl against the Giants at Raymond James, which is actually like 15 minutes down the road from my dorm room right now. You played you played against Jason Sehorn, Michael Strahan. Your quarterback was Trent Dilfer. You had Shannon Sharp, and on the other side of you as a wide receiver. So I was wondering, what was the offensive mindset heading into that game, knowing that you were going to be facing that Giants defense who really dominated throughout the playoffs up until that point? And what were you nervous at all? Like, and I know you guys didn't have a curfew heading into the game, like that week of the Super Bowl in Tampa. So what were you guys up to?
So the entire week, nerves was not even an issue. I think we had the best defense ever assembled on the NFL landscape when it came to just the domination. It was a matter of us putting it together offensively. We had some really challenging practices, to put it mildly, throughout our time. I think we had like one good practice that entire week, and that was the first time in, I don't know, 8 weeks that we had a really good practice, which is kind of scary. But yeah, leading up to the game, it was all full go. Like, guys were just relaxed, guys were chill, they didn't really care. And ultimately, get out there on the football field. Defensively for the Giants, I knew that Michael Strahan and those guys, I mean, they're good and solid, but they weren't guys that were like, oh my God, we got to really be on our game if we expect to do anything. No, we just went out and played our brand of football, and our special teams were on point and spectacular. Jermaine Lewis returned a kickoff return. He had some sweet kickoff returns, sweet punt returns. It was an amazing game, all three phases. But for sure, you got a badass defense like ours.
Yeah.
You just sit back, enjoy the ride.
And I think we should move on to like the last question, right?
Sure.
I think we're running out of time also.
Yeah.
So Hard Knocks. So you guys were on Hard Knocks, and I was just wondering if like your teammates kind of like switched their personality for the camera, or was the cameras too much, or like was it realistic to what the offseason actually was for the Ravens?
It was spot on.
Spot on.
We were technically the very first reality sports show ever. So it was spot on. There was no faking. There was no, I mean, no one knew. No, we didn't know to fake what. And the little insight on everything was the fact that NFL Films, their TV crew, was the one doing the filming. So, like, the bigger picture of it all, hey man, we all know each other. Like, there was like 2 or 3 camera guys. I'm like, oh, I've seen you at so many football games, like in my career. It was no big deal. So what you saw was legit. And over the years, as the show has grown and kind of morphed into what it is today, yeah, sure, you can have some people embellish some stuff and all that, but Tony Saragusa and some of the crazy antics he had, obviously, Shannon Sharp, what he was all about as far as, in front of the camera. And I even tell you, like, the rookie talent show, when they showed the one guy imitating Shannon, like one of the all-time funniest ever. Like, guys just rolling
because it was that good. So, just a lot of fun. I don't see anything as far as like, yeah, well, we probably should have done this or we shouldn't have done that. It was great. It was cutting edge, and I can see, we were the ones, or I should say, we were the ones that set the tone to really have reality TV show in the NFL.
And I have one more question. You mentioned Tori Saragusa before we wrap it up here. I heard that he wanted everybody to be paid to be on the show. And if they didn't come back with a certain number that he said that the players wouldn't do it. Were you ever involved in that decision, or did you go to Tony?
I don't know how that all came about. I forget what was the end result of it. I think it wasn't so much Tony individually, so much as it was the NFL Players Association, like, hey, what is this and what are we getting? Is it just, the owners are going to feast off of this show? And I think Tony was one of the NFL Players Association reps, and certainly didn't mind speaking his mind, as he was famous for doing.
And I know you're a broadcaster now for the Ravens, pregame and postgame, I believe.
Pre-game show on WJZ every week, and also our post-game shows. And then we have a weekly show that I will be a part of, myself, and then also former Raven receiver Torrey Smith.
Do you want to spill the beans on if you know anything on the Ravens draft pick tonight? Do you know anything? Do you want to break some news?
Bruh, I would love to break any news, but this is like, it's weird. I know I personally have realized the Ravens and every other team, not that they lie, they just don't tell you the truth.
Right.
It's a game of misdirection. So all I know is, with the 14th pick, the Baltimore Ravens are going to select, and that's as much as I know.
Especially
who do you
tonight,
think they should pick?
Unpredictable draft, I feel, in years.
It is a very unpredictable draft. I don't even have a name. Like, I honestly, like, this is probably the second or third time in as many years as I've been kind of like, yeah, we could talk about this guy, we could talk about that guy, but I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to stay with the draft pick or if they're going to trade out of it. It's going to be interesting to see what the Ravens do.
Yeah, and signing off. Well, thank you for your time,
Thank you.
Mr. Ismail. We really appreciate it. It was an honor and privilege to speak with you today, and I hope we can get you on again soon.
Well, I tell you guys this, it was my pleasure coming on, and it's young cats like you that keep the game fresh and keep the game going. And I will look forward to many more opportunities to interact with you guys, talk some football, and when the season comes about, let me know. We'll get back on and we'll make it happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was a great opportunity to get to talk to you. This is the Jiggy and Joe show with two-sport All-American, Super Bowl champion, second-round pick in the 1993 NFL Draft, Qadry Ismail. Thank you, Qadry.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy draft day.
Indeed.